Hello from Inside Drug Discovery. This video is a brief description of a drug, TRYNGOLZA, which was recently approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The partial structure of the drug on this slide is not the full structure of TRYNGOLZA, it's just a representative part of the drug, which is an antisense oligonucleotide. TRYNGOLZA was approved on December 19, 2024. TRYNGOLZA is approved as an adjunct to diet to reduce triglycerides in adults with familial chylomicronemia syndrome. The active compound is olezarsen. The drug is administered as a subcutaneous injection once per month in an 80 milligram dose. The NDA applicant is Ionis Pharmaceuticals of Carlsbad, California. The prescribing information insert of TRYNGOLZA is cited at the bottom of the slide and was the main reference for this video. Familial chylomicronemia syndrome, or FCS, is a hereditary condition that is characterized as a metabolic disorder in which an individual's body is not able to break down fats. Patients with FCS can show many symptoms, but some of the most common are having high triglyceride levels and painful attacks of pancreatitis. The most common treatment for FCS is a very tightly controlled diet that manages both fat and carbohydrate intake. How does TRYNGOLZA benefit a patient with FCS? TRYNGOLZA targets apolipoprotein C3. apoC-III. apoC-III is a structural protein, not an enzyme or receptor. In hepatocytes, apoC-III and triglycerides, TGs, are packaged together to form VLDL, very low density lipoprotein, which is secreted into the blood. VLDL then serves as a source of triglycerides for cells in the body. TRYNGOLZA blocks the cellular synthesis of apoC-III in hepatocytes. Without apoC-III, hepatocytes secrete less VLDL into the blood, and triglyceride levels in the plasma are reduced. Lower triglyceride levels can reduce the incidence of pancreatitis and other FCS symptoms. How does TRYNGOLZA affect apoC-III? Olezarsen, the API in TRYNGOLZA, is an antisense oligonucleotide. A marginal, simplified representation of olezarsen is on the screen. The full structure is too big to fit on the screen and still be able to point out individual functional groups. If you are interested, you can check out the prescribing information for the full structure in all its glory. The bulk of olezarsen structure consists of a 20-mer of deoxyribonucleotide and ribonucleotide analogs. Other parts are a linker and 3 N-acetylgalactosamine GalNAc groups. The ribonucleotides use a 2'-O-methoxyethyl ether, a feature developed at Ionis. The phosphorothioate backbone of the oligonucleotide also traces its origins to Ionis. Functionally, the oligonucleotide section binds to apoC-III mRNA via complementary base pairing interactions and prevents translation of the bound mRNA into apoC-III protein. The GalNAc groups help target the drug to the liver, which is a primary location of apoC-III gene expression. Olezarsen is a very large compound with a molecular weight of over 9,000 grams per mole. Structures with this size and functionality are not orally absorbed and therefore must be administered through injection. Here are some of the PK properties of olezarsen. The half-life is quite long at 4 weeks. The Tmax is just 2 hours following subcutaneous injection of TRYNGOLZA. The volume of distribution is reported based on a 2-compartment model, and the volume of the peripheral compartment is quite large. Distribution is primarily to the liver and kidneys. The bioavailability is not reported, and plasma protein binding is greater than 99%. A key property here is the very long half-life, which allows TRYNGOLZA injections to have a 1-month interval. The injections can be performed by the patient with an autoinjector. The use of the autoinjector is fully described at the end of the prescribing information file deposited with the FDA. For metabolism, olezarsen is not metabolized by CYP enzymes in the liver, but instead is broken down by various endo and exonucleases into smaller oligonucleotides with presumably no therapeutic benefit. In the 24 hours following injection, less than 1% of the olezarsen dose was observed in the urine. TRYNGOLZA has few warnings and fairly mild adverse reactions. The only warning listed in the prescribing information summary was hypersensitivity to olezarsen or excipients in the formulation. Adverse reactions were infrequent and include injection site reactions, decreased platelet count, and joint pain. TRYNGOLZA seems to be well tolerated by patients. That concludes this summary of the approval of the new drug application of TRYNGOLZA, which was granted by the U.S. FDA on December 19th of 2024. TRYNGOLZA is an antisense oligonucleotide indicated for the reduction of triglyceride levels in adult familial chylomicronemia syndrome patients. Thank you for watching to the end of this video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, making a comment, or leaving a question. Take care.